everyone. This is Rev Brad on the Soccer Chaplains United podcast from the Touchline. Today's podcast is part of our Lessons From Lasso series, and I just wanted to take a minute to share that we're finally wrapping up this series. If you're a fan of Apple TV's Ted Lasso, you know the show ended last year, and this has been a fun series for me to do, but to be honest, I think we've explored and touched on just about all that we can in looking at the show. So, in the end, we're going to round out the series with a total of 65 different lessons drawn out from this first season. I think the show was immensely helpful because it came out in 2020, and most of the world at the time was shut up and shut in with the pandemic. And so I think it's been a great encouragement and a great joy and great fun. Now, as we've gone along, we've looked at different elements from those 10 episodes of Season 1, and I've tried to offer a chaplain's perspective on the different things that we see in the locker room, on the pitch, and beyond. Now, difficult themes like loneliness, revenge, fear, and shame, I've tried to balance those things with other themes like hope, love, friendship, belief, and faith. Now, I'm not opposed to doing more lessons from Lasso, but as the show has run its course, like I said, I have a feeling that this series has as well. But, and it's a big but, if you have a theme or a topic or a scene from an episode in seasons 2 or 3, and you'd like me to podcast and talk about it, here's where I want to invite you. Would you just share that with me? Send an email to podcast@soccerchaplainsunited.org and include the episode or maybe some of the scene information or details, maybe even a question. And depending on the responses, maybe we'll have another lesson or 2 or 3 to go through together. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this journey with me. I think there's been some great lessons that we've learned, whether you're a person of faith or not, whether you're a footballer, a manager, or simply a fan of the beautiful game, or a fan of Ted Lasso. So thanks again for joining us today, and here we go with one of our last lessons from Ted Lasso.
He's found the space, and he's found the back of the net.
Just a little off foot, thinking he's going to go far post. Not strong enough with his right hand.
Whips that one in. Far post, almost made him ends, and they have. He has the hat-trick. The second in his career. The third of the night. The hat-trick hero.
Talked about you're not going to be able to sustain that kind of pressure.
To the corner. Goes towards the near post. And you're on the angle, and what a goal! What a goal!
As we come to a close, at least for now, of our Lesson from Lasso series, we're at the end of Season 1, Episode 10, and we've watched as AFC Richmond have lost out to Manchester City in the dying moments of a game that was crucial to win in order to avoid relegation. The camera pans in slow motion with close-ups on the disappointed and disbelieving faces of the AFC coaching staff, the fans, the owner, and others, while the somber piano notes begin to play and fade up from the background. Marcus Mumford sings a haunting rendition of You'll Never Walk Alone as the show and season winds to a close. The lyrics to the song go like this, if you've never heard them before. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, for your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on, with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. As the song goes on, we watch several scenes that stand in stark contrast to each other. The ruthless former owner Rupert Mannion is alone as his girlfriend leaves him to watch out the post-match press conference. Meanwhile, the Richmond fans reach to each other to comfort and console. The faithful are gathered at May's pub. They stand together, still in shock. We see Ted Lasso walk by the visiting locker, and he sees Jamie Tartt taking abuse from his father because he didn't try and score the winner himself. And ultimately, Tartt is left alone, abandoned by his outraged dad. Ted walks on into the Richmond locker room, and he offers words of hope and encouragement to the team, with Rebecca and Higgins and Keeley all gathered with those that have just come off the field. Lasso knows he can't take away the pain of losing. Lasso knows that this moment, this sad moment, has to be fully felt. But he offers this important and keen observation as he addresses the room. Lift your heads and look around this locker room. I want you to be grateful that you're going through this sad moment with all these other folks. Because I promise you, there is something worse out there than being sad, and that is being alone and being sad. Ain't nobody in this room alone. Friends, I've been in football a long time as a volunteer chaplain. I've been in the back rooms, in the stadium corridors, in the locker rooms. I've been in the suite level to the field side levels. I've walked the hospital corridor of a player that's come to an end of a season, to the end of a career. I've been one to put an arm around those sad, those broken, those that have lost. And the losing is usually more than just a game. Some have lost loved ones. Some have lost a marriage. Some have lost family and friends through disappointment and failure. And Lasso's right. To be alone and to be sad is one of the worst things that a person can endure. But see, my friends, God knows and he sees this and he cares about it. I think perhaps the best encapsulation of God's movement towards us that I can share with you in today's pod comes from the Gospel of John. And as John opens his account, he writes this, and I'm going to read John 1:1-3 from the Message translation. The Word was first. The Word present to God, God present to the Word. The Word was God, in readiness for God from day one. Everything was created through him. Nothing, not one thing, came into being without him. Then he goes on to say, the Word became flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood. We saw the glory with our own eyes, the one-of-a-kind glory, like Father, like Son, generous inside and out, true from start to finish. My friends, as John's talking there, he describes the Word. The Word is Jesus. And Jesus has moved into our neighborhood. He came to earth to be close to us in the midst of our sadness, to help reconcile us back so that the possibility of relationship with God could be restored, so that we don't need to be sad and alone anymore. My friends, we're going to encounter sadness in this world, in this lifetime, but Jesus has come to make all things new, to make all things right again. He senses this even as he goes to leave his disciples. Jesus knows their sadness, and he knows that their sadness is going to be around seeing him go, not necessarily just in his crucifixion, and he shares these words with them before that. So he tells them this, that he's going to send the Holy Spirit. And so again, I'm going to read from John chapter 16, verses 4-7, and then verses 12-15. And again, from the Message. Jesus says, I didn't tell you these things earlier because I was with you every day, but now I'm on my way to the one who sent me. Not one of you has asked, where are you going? Instead, the longer I've talked, the sadder you've become. So let me say it again, this truth. It's better for you that I leave. If I don't leave, the friend won't come. But if I go, I'll send him to you. I still have many things to tell you, but you can't handle them now. But when the friend comes, the Spirit of truth, he will take you by the hand and guide you into all the truth there is. He won't draw attention to himself, but will make sense out of what is about to happen, and indeed out of all that I've done and said. He will honor me. He will take from me and deliver it to you. Everything the Father has is also mine. That is why I've said he takes from me and delivers to you. So my friends, listen to me. If you know Jesus, if you love and live your life following him, then the words of Hammerstein's song will never be truer. You will never walk alone. The Holy Spirit, the friend that's translated there in the Message, the Spirit of truth, will take us by the hand, will guide us into truth. The Holy Spirit will comfort us in the midst of sadness. The Holy Spirit will empower us in moments when we need bravery and boldness. He's part of the triune Godhead, the same Spirit, one with the Father, one with the Son. With him, we'll walk on. With him, we can hold our heads high with hope in our hearts. So my friends, as we come to close this lesson, this series, these lessons from Lasso, I just want to encourage you, choose Jesus today. Be filled with the Spirit. Be reconciled to God the Father. And no matter how sad you or I might be in this lifetime, know this, with him, with Jesus, we're never alone. Well, thanks for listening to this lesson from Ted Lasso. This is Reb Brad coming to you from the touchline.